Hey, how's it going, YouTube guys and girls and everybody and everything in between? My name is Adam Lansky. I'm a music recording engineer, and I'm coming with a video to you about reamping an entire track through a set of monitors into some microphones, into some outboard preamps, into a stereo compressor, and then back into the interface, going into the DAW to try and just do something different and see if we could bring a little life into a track that I wish had just a little more dimension to it. So before we begin, really quick shout out to my friends 350PDX. If you don't know who they are, check them out at 350pdx.org. They're a nonprofit that is working to help divest Portland, Oregon, and the world from fossil fuels so that in the future maybe we don't need to burn gasoline to get around. Maybe there are other options that are better for everybody and everything. So check them out, 350PDX. Anyways, welcome to the new studio setup. There are some changes going on, and I'm so happy that you've joined us. Last year I did a video called Getting Outboard Gear into Your DAW. You can consider this part 2 of that video, where now what I'm going to show you I'm working on is sending a signal out of the DAW and bringing it back in, but not just through rack-mounted processors. We're going to actually send the signal out through speakers and across the air and bring it back in. So let's get to it. Everything starts and ends here in our Logic Pro DAW. Right here we've got our beginning track. I'm calling this our reference material, and this is the mix that has come out of the session without any kind of master compression on it. The instruments have some compression, but as you can see, there's still plenty of headroom to play with here. This open track over here, labeled Audio 2, which I guess we should probably retitle, so let's call that Master 1. And so that way, whatever comes in, the program is going to automatically title Master 1. If I want to do a second take, I can call it Master 2. Here in Logic, we've got our mixer, which is showing our routing. So the reference track is going out through output 7 and 8, and then there's an output channel here, output 7 and 8, and then you'll see we've got an input channel, which incidentally are coming on input 7 and 8. This is sheer coincidence. I would prefer it was 1 and 2, but it doesn't matter. It's coming back into the interface on 7 and 8, which is sending to the stereo out, which is right over here. That's the routing going on in the DAW. If we follow the USB cable coming out here, it leads us to our Antelope Zen Studio. The Millennia is not being used in this session, and these cables are not sending any kind of signal. So the Antelope Zen Studio, you can come around the back over here, has a D-sub cable coming out, and that's this top cable right here. So I'm sending output 7 and 8 through this D-sub cable, and then this is going to channels 7 and 8 on my snake. Okay, so we're going to follow this snake, and you're going to see where it takes you. Now, we're repainting in the house, hence the paper on the floor. So we're taking this snake all the way down and into the basement, where we've got some stuff set up. I've got a couple speakers here and a couple of microphones. And you can see that we've got some distance between them. Considering that we're sending a stereo signal out of 2 speakers into 2 microphones, in this case, this is a RøDE K2 large diaphragm tube condenser. we need to make sure that the distance between the speakers and both microphones, as well as the altitude of the speakers and the microphones, are identical. So how you do this is pretty simple. You take a tape measure of some kind, right? One of these things. I'm sure you've seen these before, okay? And just decide how far back you want it. In this case, I've decided 14 inches. Why did I pick that number? Because it sounded good, that distance from the speaker, I guess? I don't know. I'm just kind of playing around. And I wanted to make sure that the height was the same. So in this case, I have chosen to make both of them 4 foot and 1 inch. And I'm just measuring from an identical point on the microphone. In this case, there happens to be a little ridge right here at the bottom of the basket. So also when you're measuring distance from the speaker to the microphone, you want to measure from the vertical protective casing that's on the side here. And the reason is because this is marking where the diaphragm is. I've already gone ahead and done the same thing for both of these microphones. Additionally, I've placed the polar pattern on figure 8 because I want to get some of the room in here. This is an interesting sounding space, so why not incorporate it? How about I show you a couple more things? So the signal is being sent from the computer, the interface, through the snake, and here's where our split is occurring. I've got channel 8, which is our right channel, going out to this speaker here, and I've got channel 7 going to our left speaker over here. So what I've done likewise is this microphone is then our left microphone, and this connects to the power supply down here through a mic cable into channel 1 on the snake. And I've done the same over here. This microphone is going into its power supply and then going into channel 2 on the snake. Something to keep in mind anytime you've got power cables and microphone cables is you want them to cross each other perpendicular if they have to cross each other. And the reason for this is so that you don't get noise from your electricity jumping onto your microphone signal carrying cables. So basically, the sound is going to come out of the speaker, across the air, into that mic, and then back into the snake, which then comes upstairs and into our Universal Audio 4710D. From the 4710D, I have it going up into our Chameleon Labs 7720. On these channels here, I've matched the input and output so that it's essentially acting as a stereo pair. This compressor is a stereo compressor, and so both channels automatically react together. Now, I've gone and set this beforehand, and I'm pretty happy with where it's at. I'm not smashing everything. I just kind of want to glue things together, and then if I want to boost up the loudness, I'm going to do that within the DAW. Something I'd like to point out that's really cool about the Chameleon Labs 7720 is they have this high-pass filter knob. And this doesn't actually EQ anything out of the signal. What it does is it prevents anything below the high-pass filter from triggering the compressor. And so what this is going to do is really nicely compress everything above without just getting smashed by the low-end signal, because this is a single band compressor. This is a broadband compressor that's acting on anything that pushes up through the threshold. Okay? And these are some of the other settings I've got here. The attack is on 10 milliseconds. The release I've left on 1/10 of a second or 100 milliseconds. Ratio is only 2:1. And then I've turned up the output an appropriate amount. So that connects back into our Antelope Zen Studio interface, which then comes back into the DAW. I bet you guys are really curious as to what that sounds like now. So let's press play and see what happens. I'm going to put my track, my recording track, on input. And let's see. Let's leave the compressor off at first. Here's on. Here's off. And let's make some meters jump. You guys want to make some meters jump? Let's hear that same section with the compressor on. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was short, but I hope it was insightful, and I hope I inspired some ideas. Reamping is something that I think can be used to really expand on existing material. You can record a guitar or a voice dry and then re-record it virtually anywhere. I guess really anywhere. Tune in next time. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/LanskySound. Follow us here on YouTube. Check out lanskysound.com. You can find out more. If you have any ideas or questions, please feel free to send them my way. Comment on this video below. I really love hearing from everybody in the YouTube audio community. That's it, guys. Hope you're having a great year, and never be afraid to experiment. Always keep pushing the boundaries and try new things every chance you get. So look forward to the next one. Thank you.